Hey guys, welcome to another video that's a bit of a deviation from the norm. Today I am going to discuss a topic that's been bugging me recently, so I'll just be using random Star Wars imagery while you listen. And this discussion concerns Star Wars canon. The obsession over what is or isn't considered canon by George Lucas is one of those topics that continues to rear its head within the Star Wars fandom. And honestly, as someone who originally had no reverence for the EU and primarily uses the movies as my main source of canon, I still can't understand the point of using what Lucas did or did not say as leverage for one's argument regarding canon. There is one group of people who grew up with the EU who consider them true extensions of the world Lucas made, while the Disney canon is merely fan fiction. Then there are people who only consider what is on the big screen or TV as canon, while the EU, now dubbed Legends, is fan fiction for bros. And while the first part of that sentence is closer to how Lucas interprets the EU, Lucas doesn't phrase it in a way to make you feel stupid for enjoying it. That's the core of the problem in these Twitter battles regarding Star Wars canon, character consistency, you name it. Now, I've seen that one of my favorite channels, Eckhart's Ladder, has also touched on this subject because a video with Dave Filoni has circulated around Twitter with Filoni speaking for himself and George regarding the EU's canon status. Of course, it got weaponized. Dave says that people believe that everything changed when the extended universe became Legends, but in reality, that's what they already were to not only Filoni but Lucas himself. For Lucas, the films and the TV shows are the only thing he considers canon. We've all heard this before. It's not news. The EU was a fun jumping off point for people who loved the Star Wars world, and they wanted to explore what could have happened after or before the films that Lucas made. That's about it. And sometimes some of those ideas within the EU were good enough that eventually Lucas would incorporate those ideas into his films, thereby making them official canon. A perfect example of this is that Timothy Zahn named Coruscant, which Lucas then used for his prequel trilogy. However, even with the planet of Coruscant, Lucas technically already had this planet idea in his mind. It just had no name before Timothy Zahn. And if I remember correctly, Coruscant was originally referred to as the Imperial Planet, something along those lines. And if you want to be really pedantic about canon versus non-canon, the prequel trilogy entirely recontextualized what the Clone Wars used to be. Before we got the glory of what we now know as clone troopers, the Clone Wars were about clone people, clone Jedi, whatever. They were mentally unstable clone creations, and they were unstable because they aged way too fast. It was super weird. So the concept of Legends, the EU being scrapped in favor of a new, more coherent canon has precedent with the maker himself. It wasn't some calculated move to piss off diehard EU fans of the Thrawn trilogy. And the real point Dave is making in this video isn't to dunk on fans of the EU either. Dave Filoni understands the frustrations of people who love the extended universe, but he's just clarifying that they have always been considered Star Wars legends to himself and Lucas, which is not an insult by any means. It doesn't reduce their quality or merits as Star Wars stories. And if we're only going to consider what George Lucas works on as real canon, then the people weaponizing this Filoni video have to accept the sequel trilogy as not canon by their logic. And on the opposite side, if you are a fan of the EU and consider it canon while acknowledging that Lucas doesn't consider them to be real canon, then considering the sequel trilogy as official canon shouldn't be that much of a stretch for you. Dislike them all you want, but at least be consistent in how you regard canon. The lamest comebacks in regards to the EU or the sequels are people calling it fan fiction. It's wildly pretentious, and honestly, all of this just stems from people's personal issues or taste for what should have happened on the big screen during the past 5 years. My suggestion, get over it. So that's enough about this subject. People need to stop weaponizing the status of canon by virtue of Filoni and Lucas quotes. It doesn't serve the purpose you think it's serving. At this point, we don't need any more things dividing the fandom. Enjoy what you enjoy. Please be kind to each other. AT-AT is signing off.